Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today we are going to be talking about the Deadly Duo. No. No. Not that Deadly Duo. This Deadly Duo. Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. The Deluxe Edition. Now, I did read this in floppies. I have them all in my collection somewhere. I've got, I think one or two, I've got at least two covers of it just because I wanted a couple of the covers. And I had forgotten how good of a book this was. This should have been on my list for one of the best stories of 2023. Because I know it's definitely been one of the best Batman stories that I've read in a long time. And it is really nice to have it where I can just pull it out and read it without having to dig through and find my stuff. I have to tell you, Mark Silvestri, whatever you may think of him, he did a fantastic job writing this book. Because one, he took Batman back to his sort of roots, and made this a classic detective story. Okay, there's you know, there's a mystery that they need to solve, and it just entails, having to being forced to team up with the Joker. It starts out with a murder, or starts out with Harley Quinn. Look at that art, being sort of talking to her kidnapper, and then it goes to a murder scene where a guy was killed and his head was cut off. Batman and Bullock are there. So, so Batman's looking into these, and then he gets this, and what looks like is someone who's white skin, green hair is committing these crimes, and so they're thinking, okay, it's the Joker, but it's not. It's some little creature that looks like the Joker, and then he gets approached by the Joker and says, hey, look, I've got Jim Gordon. I need to go get this person. They've got something that I want. You're going to help me deal with this. And it just so happens to coincide with the murders. And so they are forced to team up to solve the murders. So there's a great original story with turns out a villain that we've never seen before, and some very good amount of story. I mean, a good amount of action as well. And he he did a really good job with the pacing and keeping all the details of the story going, so you're finding stuff out as you go, and not dumping too much things on you. There was a little bit of techno babble, scientific gobbledygook, but it wasn't too much. But also, one of the things that he was kind of a reoccurring motive, things in the story is, Batman doesn't take lives. Joker does. People have died when Batman is fighting the Joker, or this is what's being used specifically in the story, because during them fighting, there have been some unintended deaths, and is Batman ultimately responsible for those deaths? He's not doing it directly. He's not killing he's not physically taking the lives of these people, but by the results of him fighting the Joker, is he responsible? Some people are saying, hey, at least the Joker's got the balls to sit there and say, hey, yeah, it's me. But, is Batman ultimately responsible, even though he's not directly involved in the deaths? So that was a really great kind of subplot going on there, and you get Batman's conscience chiming in, his conscience being Alfred, and sort of indirectly his father, because Alfred brings up a couple things that Thomas Wayne said to Alfred years before, and he's directing them to Bruce as opposed to Batman, and they sort of separate the two identities on this, Bruce and Batman. So it's kind of like this contextual story on medical ethics, ethics on, are you ultimately responsible for indirect things that happen indirectly because of your actions, and just stuff. And then what you do have, what also they have in here, is just some fantastic art. This is some of the best looking Batman art I have seen. I mean, I'm putting this up there. It rivals Jim Lee. And Jim Lee, I think, does the best Batman art there is. I mean, Silvestri, Lee, Capullo. I mean, just, it is unbelievably good. So, and it makes it, gorgeous to look at. And then it says, so you combine this really well-crafted story with this beautiful art, and it is such a joy to work. I mean, not to work with, what am I talking about? To read. And I just wish there'd be more Batman, more stories like this in DC to begin with, more Batman specifically, as opposed to some of the crap they're putting out now with Zdarsky and stuff like that. But I'm going to give you this. The only small problem I have with this book is It's a deluxe edition. It's hardback and all that stuff. The only extras they have in here is all the different covers for the 7 issues. And then they have a little bit of black and white art in the back, before it got colored. It's just his drawings. And then a little 2-page what do you call it? Afterward, written by Sylvester, and that's it. So I'm gonna give it. That makes me go to. I'm gonna sort of break my system here a little bit. I'm gonna go like a 4.9 out of 5. Normally I do it in portions of 25, but this is nearly perfect. I just wish it would have had a little bit more in the back for this book, but it's incredible. It's worth every cent of the $29.99 cover price, and I say get it. Even if you don't read it, it's a must-have for your collection. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, whether you just read it in floppies or if you have read this. Let me know what you thought of it, and if you agree with my assessment. And so like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your comics.